Steve, ladies and gentlemen, welcome you all to my presentation. I'm Oliver. And before I start my presentation, I'm going to ask you a question. Imagine one way you detect your favorite food by the smell of it, and what will your reaction be like? Well, your reaction will be you likely to saliva dripping from your mouth, right? Okay, that's not the craziest. Do you ever consider that a dog could salivate when they hear the sound of a bell? Well, it may sound strange for the fact above here, but this is how humans begin to develop their behavior. And this behavior is called classical conditioning. Now, for some of you who don't know what is classical conditioning, mainly it's just a type of behavior where the brain forms connections between two events. The part of the brain that are responsible for the stimulus are the hippocampus and the amygdala. The hippocampus plays as the role to store some associations in order for the brain to remember it, and the amygdala helps to form some responses when the stimulus occurs. Now, there's an important thing you must know. Not every associations are the same. Why, you may ask? Now let me give you two examples. First, the first one. When you touch a hot stove, what will your action be like? Well, your action will be you likely to immediately take your hands away to prevent the intense heat, right? Okay, come to the second example. When you get bad grades, what will you do? Well, you're likely to plan a schedule to prevent those bad grades from happening again, right? Okay, notice something different? So the first one, we call them unconditional reflex. That actions depends on the circumstances that you are facing, and your actions are likely to spontaneous. And the second example, we call them conditional reflex. Your actions are learned through associations with a conditioned stimulus, and your action was actually planned in the beginning. Now, why should I tell you this? So before I tell you what I mean, I'm going to go through the origin of classical conditioning to illustrate what I mean. In the 1890s, a Russian psychologist named Ivan Pavlov began his experiment to find out the answer when he found his dogs began to salivate when the presence of his technician, the man who normally fed the dog, appeared by measuring the dog's output of saliva. The experiment goes like this. First, he gave the dog food to eat. Second, while the dog was enjoying its mouth-watering meal, Pavlov played out the metronome. After a few repetitions of the process, Pavlov took out the food and only played out the metronome. As expected, the dog began to react to the sound by secreting its saliva. Therefore, Pavlov eventually came to the conclusion that the dog would salivate when a particular stimulus was present in the environment and within the dog's hearing range. Now, come to the question I've asked you before. Why should I tell you this? Now, let's come back and take a look at the world for a second. Many people have been suffering through trauma and mental illness. What if I tell you that the discovery behind Pavlov's experiment was used as a way to cure people from trauma and mental illness? Their brain, mainly the core reason that leads to trauma, are constantly forming powerful associations like sounds, smells, or even memories. Remember the experiment above? Likewise, those stimuluses can evoke intense and emotional and physical reactions. But at this moment, psychedelic therapy comes into play. Some types of substances like the aromatherapy and the caffeine was used to study in clinical settings to help rewire the brain's connections. How does that work? Now, let me explain. These substances don't just make you unconscious for a while in order for stopping the brain from forming bad associations. It temporarily disrupts rigid neural pathways, allowing the brain to form newer and better associations. With the help of a safe and supportive environment, those bad memories will be gone from the brain, and the patients will become motivated. Now, as you can see, just a fundamental discovery from Pavlov that leads to a whole new era of clinical studying. What a discovery! So, next time, when you see a car and all of a sudden you feel attracted to it, whether it's just what you feel, you can pause for a little second and know that classical conditioning has occurred. That feeling is not just about the car itself, it's about how you feel inside your brain. It quietly shapes our habits, our preferences, and in emotional life, and even us can take a short glimpse of it. Thank you.